Hi, I'm Juliette Ferguson with Sotheby's International Realty. People call me Jette, and this is Jette TV. And I'm here with a similar sounding name, Jed. And Jed Peace Friedland is back again for a second interview. We're very excited about it. He has so many credentials on here, I can't even go over them. It would take the whole time. But he also, besides being a mediator and attorney, you teach at Monterey
College of the Law, Kern County College of the Law, and privately as well.
That's awesome. So today we were going to talk about a subject that we didn't really get into, and that was neighborhood disputes, property line issues, and maybe how to prevent some of those issues from happening.
Sure. Let me start by, well, first of all, thanks for having me back.
Oh, I always forget to welcome people.
That's terrible. Okay. And thanks for those who are tuning in. Interesting thing about neighbor disputes. Neighbor disputes can arise in a number of contexts. They can be around pets, it can be around land use, it can be around noise, it can be around perceived property boundaries, so many different rights of way, easements, so many different ways in which it can arise. I am affiliated with the Mandela Gisnet Center over in Seaside, and interesting thing about the history of the Mandela Gisnet Center, it was funded in part as a result of a double homicide that happened out in Carmel Valley related to
which unfortunately we're famous for around here.
It's true, and it was for lack of a better term, I'll just say a conflict between neighbors over a property line dispute, and it ended in double homicide. So we got a lot of funding as a result of that because there was a perceived need that there should be an organization in place that could assist folks when they come into these crises to hear them, provide them with a safe and confidential space where they might be able to explore their mutual interests and perhaps fashion their own remedies rather than either resorting to self-help as in that instance or going to court and having a judge decide for them what their options are going to be.
So tell me a little bit more about the center in Seaside.
Sure. So the Mandela Gisnet Center is affiliated to some degree with the Monterey College of the Law, but it also acts independently. It maintains, for the purposes of our discussion today, it maintains a thing called the Neighbor Project. I teach at Mandela Gisnet Center, and one of the things that I do is I teach mediators, lay people to become mediators, to perform a facilitative modality of mediation as opposed to an evaluative modality, which you have to be a lawyer to do. And these folks become active in the Mandela Gisnet Center along with a co-mediator like myself, and we will hear disputes between neighbors for free. I believe it's up to 3 hours.
Wow. That's a huge service.
It's a huge service. It's a wonderful organization, and oftentimes we can solve a lot of people's problems. This type of thing is available even privately if you don't want to use a service like that, or if you feel that you have a matter that's a little more problematic or a little more nuanced, or you want to have a lawyer mediator involved, you can certainly do that. But mediation is always a good idea, especially where you have neighbor disputes involved. It may well be that it doesn't have to get to that point as well, and I do a lot with teaching communication skills so that you can hopefully diffuse something before it gets to a full-on conflict. But when it does manifest as a conflict, there are plenty of people that are trained, both lawyers and lay people who are very well trained in these matters and modalities who can assist you.
So the center would be equivalent of mediation.
Absolutely.
And not binding.
Not binding. That's the beautiful thing about mediation is you can participate in it and you can decide, you know what, this is not for me, or I don't think the other side is moving in a meaningful way towards a center position. I'm out of here, I'm going to file a lawsuit. That's certainly within your rights.
Okay. No, I did not know about that, and I love Seaside. I live in Seaside, so I'm really excited to learn more about that. So.
And it comes up in so many contexts, and people are always so willing. Well, who here hasn't sent an email or a text and then gone, oops, and then it lands in the wrong way, and the next thing you know, you've got this war. And so oftentimes that's how people end up in conflict, and it really doesn't have to accelerate to that level. So if people in a trained capacity with a little situational awareness, perhaps a little empathy or a compassion or emotional intelligence, can bring into the room enough safety and enough elbow room, wiggle room for people to feel like they can engage, rather than have to do that through paid advocates in a very formal setting, it's a much better way to go.
No, it sounds it, absolutely. And that is not just for real estate, or is it mainly real
No,
estate?
although the neighbor project tends to be for things related to relationships between neighbors. I think the Conflict Resolution Center in Santa Cruz also has a similar program. There are a number of programs available in all communities in America, I hope. I'm a director for the National Association for Community Mediation, and we're trying to mobilize all of these local centers to make sure that everyone has got a similar type of program
A
so
place
they can
to
offer
go.
that. A place to go.
Everybody can't afford to.
It's safe,
Yeah.
it's free, it's confidential. If you don't like the result, you've got plenty of other options. It's a way better thing to do than to shoot first and ask questions later,
Right.
so to speak.
Right, makes sense. So, is there a phone number that we could give to people related to that?
You know, I don't have it memorized. It is in the, I guess they still have phone books. It's on the internet. It's the Gisnet Center, Mandel-Gisnet Center in Seaside. But there are other community mediation centers in your local communities, depending upon who's looking at this. And if you call them up and ask them if they have a service that would service neighbor disputes, chances are they do, and chances are it's free or extremely inexpensive.
So if somebody needs help and the next door neighbor dog is so loud that they can't sleep or work, that's something that they could go talk to you about.
Sure, and I'll point out one other thing, that I've handled these types of cases in which it's already gone to animal control and county's already tangentially involved, or maybe there's a court case pending. So it doesn't matter the context in which it arises. You don't have to think, oh, this won't fit that mold. Pick up the phone, give a call, you might be very surprised.
Why not ask?
Why not
It's
ask?
free.
That's right.
Cool.
And it's a wonderful opportunity to get a little bit of relief, or at least a second opinion on something that's stressing you out. Chances are, if you're engaged in a conflict, I don't care how smart you are, I don't care how intelligent or how evolved you are, chances are you're getting triggered, you're being attached, you may not be thinking clearly.
It's very easy to just shut down and accidentally send that email.
Yeah.
Done that before.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what other tips would you give to buyers and sellers related to preparation, communication?
Well, it's always about communication.
Yeah.
And as a lawyer, I can tell you, even as a lawyer, it's about communication. And so often the things that I've handled as a lawyer, I scratch my head and think, why did they communicate this way back then? Because
Yeah.
it just inflamed things.
Right.
So I always think that you can recalibrate a transaction, maybe even a relationship, if you use skilled professionals. And skilled mediators are worth the time. Spend an hour or two. For
Sure.
$150, $200, $300, you can determine whether or not you can get something back on track. And if you
Right.
can, it's money well spent.
Absolutely. Okay. Wonderful. Again, we're running out of time, so I want to give your name again and your phone
Sure.
number. So this is Jed Peace, and that really is his middle name, Friedland, attorney at law, and his phone number is 831-809-2577. Again, 831-809-2577. Thank you so much for participating on Jette TV.
Thanks, and thanks for watching.